Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining our Chartlytics for CentralReach webinar here today. Like I said, it's with myself and Dr. Rick Cabina, who has joined the CentralReach family from Chartlytics, along with the rest of their team. We are all very excited to have them as part of our family. You may or may not know, but Chartlytics specializes in clinical decision-making using standard acceleration charts with precision measurements. We are extremely excited to have them with us and really hopefully is showing to you all and all of our customers that CentralReach is dedicated to continuing to improve our clinical tools, our decision-making tools, which is obviously all good things for you all out there. Again, as I mentioned, Dr. Cabina is going to mainly be leading this webinar. He is a co-founder of Chartlytics. He is also the author of the Precision Teaching book and has been working with teachers and clinicians for the last 30 years to help them implement strategies. We're extremely excited here to have him. And Rick, without further ado, we'll let you jump in and show everyone around.
Okay. Well, there we are. And I guess, yeah, thank you. What I plan to do today, as Chris was saying, is some of you, if you've attended my webinars before, you listened to me speak, you've heard me talk about precision teaching. So I'm going to give folks an overview of what we have to offer and how we're fitting into CentralReach. So precision teaching, and by the way, as I'm talking, feel free to ask questions along the way. You can also wait at the end. I'm keeping my eye on the chat channel over there. So anytime you have a question, just put it in there and I can answer it. So what we have with Chartlytics is a system to help people make very accurate decisions, very strong decisions. And you can see by that picture that there's a picture, there's the standard acceleration chart, that's Chartlytics. It's operated on anyone that has an internet connection. So whether it's a laptop, whether it's some type of tablet, our decision-making platform can be activated and used to help make very good decisions. And the reason why this program has taken off and has helped so many people is because of the problems that a lot of folks don't even realize that they have. So I like to use the term behavior change agents. That covers, that general term will cover anybody that if you're a behavior analyst, if you're an SLP, if you're an OT, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you are a person yourself who's trying to change your own behavior, someone who is actively applying an intervention or measurement to better the behavior of another person. That's what we mean by behavior change agents. And you may have a really strong understanding of your craft in terms of interventions. For example, let's say you're a behavior analyst and you understand the principles of behavior. You also understand how to apply different procedures. You have assessment, you have procedures. If your measurement system is not firing on all cylinders, then information is leaked. And the more of that information that doesn't come to you, the more problems you have. And that can create problems that people don't even know that they have. As Chris was mentioning, and this makes me feel a little bit old, I have been in the field now for about 30 some years. And I was so fortunate because when I was an undergrad, my professor at Youngstown State University happened to be a precision teacher, and he just showed me how to do this stuff. I didn't know any other way. So throughout my whole career, I have become more knowledgeable about measurement and how this works, and measurement procedures that aren't so robust. And The problem that many people have is that they don't realize that there are some measurement issues that they have, and as a result, they may make inappropriate decisions. Those decisions could be, you continue a program when that learner's data is saying, look, I need help. And it's easy to sometimes not see that if the data are not represented correctly, and if they're not showing up in such a way that you clearly can see that, hey, that's a problem. Other issues could be that you have made a change when really you didn't need to. The program was going along fine and you make a change. So we came up with Chartlytics, and as you can see from that picture, we are a universal platform, and if you are someone that's interested in change, then we take this science of measurement called precision teaching, and we make it available to all of you. As consumers of knowledge, you have to ask yourself, well, where does all this come from? There are many people out there, as you all know, that make claims that say, hey, come and look at my stuff. This is great. And you should look at things when some people say that, but you should always be open-mindedly skeptical. You should ask, well, where is the evidence for this? Precision teaching is based off of very strong work that began with Skinner. So as you recall, B.F. Skinner started the science of behavior working with animals. He was in a lab, he had automated recording devices, and those automated recording devices took measures of the animals in different experimental conditions. And because he had a standard visual display, every single person, not just him himself, but himself and all the people that came after, were able to look at, well, when they applied experimental manipulations, what happened to the animal. Lindsley, that picture, so Skinner's up top, Lindsay's below. Lindsley recognized immediately, he was Skinner's graduate student, how powerful these standard measures are, how just dramatic it is to have these standard visual displays. So what he did is he had a background in engineering, and he created what was called the standard acceleration chart. If you look to the right on that figure, you can see that it was a paper standard acceleration chart. Precision teaching started off probably, the people point to 1964. The first chart that was really usable came in around 1968. And for many years, the precision teaching method was done within this paper-based medium. And of course, if you think back to the 60s and the 70s and even the 80s, it was very difficult to do otherwise. You all now have been in the generation of the world just undergoing this incredible digitization. We all live in the information age. And what has happened is we were able to capture the essence of precision teaching, digitize that, and now we can share that with the entire world. And what Skinner realized and what he leveraged was this powerful science of behavior. He learned that if you take these measures, put them on a standard display, you can understand the world very well. Lindsley enhanced that by, Skinner worked with his cumulative records, had animals that would, they would maybe tap a lever, or peck a lever, a disc, or they had paws, they would hit the lever, and that would create real-time data display. What Lindsley did, because of his background in engineering, is he had a ratio chart, and you can see that there. It's kind of small. I'll show you some slides later, but you can see it's small. And that real time now, as soon as people are able to collect data, you can instantly enter your data in the system, and there it is. It just shows up, and you now can make decisions. So this is the system that you all can apply. And I'll talk about this briefly and say how it can help you. If you are someone who is working on behavior, the very first thing you have to ask yourself, and by the way, that's all of you, what is the behavior that you are pinpointing? Oftentimes, people will use these long, convoluted definitions, and those definitions will have 10 different components to it, and all of those are leading towards one thing that is supposed to represent. What we do in the field is we show people how do you exactly, precisely pinpoint behavior. And when you have great clarity, then what you're able to do is know that when you apply an intervention to that specific pinpoint, if it moves, if it changes, then you have learned that the environmental arrangements that you made, whether that's whatever your content area is, that carefully pinpointed behavior that you are measuring is the thing that's changing. And that's incredibly helpful because sometimes when people have, let's say, operational definitions that contain 8 or 10 definitions, maybe 1 or 2 of those things change, but you have 6 or 7 other things that aren't changing. For example, aggression is a common term that many people use, and aggression can be defined with hitting, biting, kicking, pinching, and if some of those change, but not all of those change, it can be difficult to understand, well, how well is this client's behavior really changing? So that's the pinpointing aspect of it. There's record, and what we do in precision teaching is show people how do you use dimensional quantities of behavior. Everything that we do, everything that your clients do happens in a dimension of behavior. And whether that dimension is time, well, everything's going to happen in time, but if it's time only, like how long is something happening, duration, when does something begin, latency, how much does something occur in time, frequency, or what people call rate, those dimensional units will reflect the behavior you're interested in changing. So we show people, how do you bring that into your clinical practice? What happens is many people will use what's called dimensionless quantities. That's percent correct. Right away, if you all are using percent correct, know that you are leaving information on the table. Pinpointing, what I didn't say, is if you're using if you're using general labels, you can have information left on the table. If you are having dimensionless quantities, you can be leaving information on the table. So you can see as this starts building, the more information that is not available to you, then the more difficult your job can become in understanding how is my intervention impacting my client. The next component there is change. And with change, we have that specialized visual display. It's called the standard acceleration chart. And not all charts are the same. It is unfortunate that more people are not aware of the power of precision of the standard acceleration chart, but that is changing now with CentralReach and Chartlytics combined. The world is about to change. Yes, I did say that. Many people are going to be coming on board, and what will happen, because we're all in a science that cares about data, you won't have to take my word for it. Oftentimes when I speak to people, when I present, I let folks know, look, test this out. Don't take my word for it, see for yourself. And people that have done this, and that's a lot of people, all come to the same conclusion. When you have better information, you're going to elevate your practice. And that's what this system is doing. It's giving you access to higher quality information, and in your competent hands, that's going to allow you to do things that you are presently not doing. The last part of precision teaching is try again. And the try again is something that we will call recursive problem solving. When clients It would be great if, I mean, our jobs would be so easy if we did an intervention and it worked every time. But you all know that that's just not the case. You work with very tough clients. You work with behavior that's very difficult to change. If you have students who are who've had a behavior and that behavior has been producing a particular consequence for 1, 2, 3, 5 years, you have a lot of work ahead of you to change that behavior. And as an applied scientist, what will happen is you'll try an intervention. If you hit a home run out of the park on your first at bat, well, good for you. But the likelihood of that happening all the time is low. So what that means is you are going to learn. And there's a way within precision teaching of being very systematic and keeping track of what you have done in the past. So this way, you can see what has happened and you can build upon what works and what doesn't work. The statistics on a standard acceleration chart are amazing. There are things that when you dig deep, when you dive deep into the statistics, you're just going to be blown away. You can measure how fast people are learning. You can measure how much control your intervention has. You can measure the probability of an outlier. When you make condition changes, you can measure how much impact does your intervention have. And all of this is with numbers. There are a set of statistics that are going to help you understand at a higher level exactly what's going on with your client. And when you engage those statistics with your visual display, you're just going to be operating on order of magnitude better in terms of information, which means that you will not waste time with an intervention that is only moderately successful. You will learn how to push forward and truly personalize interventions. So I get excited when I talk about this because all of us are on the same team, and that is the behavior change team. We join the field because we want to help people. And this system that we have, Chartlytics, CentralReach, they are products designed to help you leverage this technology so that you can make better decisions and help move people along. So this PR-CTA system is showing you in a nutshell. I talked it at a very high level, but as you come to learn this system, then you'll learn the science behind it and you'll learn how to integrate that into your existing practice. So here are some uses. You'll notice that the bullet points over there, it says curriculum agnostic. Whatever you use, you can enhance what you're doing with this system. Doesn't matter if you are using relational frame theory, verbal behavior, discrete trial instruction. All of these are different facets of getting instruction to people. What this system does is helps you take the information from those particular interventions that you use and simply tells you how well is what you're doing working. It's web-based application, which means that you can hook up to the web, you can use it. Micro-level assessment, there are 3 different levels of assessment. One is what we'll call macro level, and you may take this information in terms of pre and post tests. Let's say that you're at a center and you give, you use an SLP test to measure the children's language. You get some kind of language quotient. You give them that at the beginning of the year, and then you give them at the end of the year. And that macro level assessment tells you, well, how well did this person change on these big levels? There's something else called a meta level assessment. That could be monthly or it could be weekly. And that would help you understand what's the trajectory of your client's behavior on these meta level type assessments. Reading, for example, if you were to give someone a 1-minute reading sample, that's called oral reading fluency. You give it to them each week. If it changes, that tells you how well are they moving on that particular reading passage. So let's say you gave them a bunch of third grade reading passages. If they started increasing, then that information tells you that in terms of in the third grade level passages, they are making progress. So that's one example of meta level. Micro level is what many of you are accustomed to doing. You work with your clients on a daily basis. Maybe you don't work 5 days a week, but you work 2 days a week. Taking data each time you work with them, that's what we mean by micro level assessment. And that's a very powerful way of being connected to your client's behavior. We give one system that can be used for whether it's behavioral, whether it's academic, whether it's a social skill, whether it's a cognitive skill, whatever it is, there's one universal platform that can unify you, your team, all of us in our field. That's one of the, when I talk with people, I carry around this banner. And that banner is, we need to come together as a field in a systematic, unified way. Skinner did it. It wasn't controversial when Skinner did it because he did great science. When Lindsley came up with precision teaching, there were many other options. And because precision teaching didn't take off in a big way, well, let me backtrack. In the 70s in the schools, precision teaching did take off. And the 70s and the 80s, it was big. But in terms of behavior analysis, people who do SLPs, it didn't have a biggest hold there. So those folks didn't recognize what it had to offer. But we all can come together just like Skinner and be unified. And I feel that when we do that, our discipline is going to take a very big leap forward, because we're all going to have the same type, we're going to have access to the same type of statistics. We're going to be able to look at the visual display. And there are things that you're interested in that I don't have knowledge in that. That's the beauty of our field. We all have specialized knowledge. We all learn from the clients that we have. And when you take your specialized knowledge and you put it on this chart that's going to show you and give you quantification, that is going to help us all learn how effective are things that we're doing. There may be some things we're doing that really aren't effective, but because of the artifacts in our linear graphs, we kind of stretch them out and we make it look like that we're doing great, but we're, it's really not happening. That's just because of one of the artifacts of how we have manipulated the graph. That will not happen if you're using the chart. So, okay, I sometimes rant a little bit because I love this stuff, and I know as you all come to learn it, you will be as enthusiastic as I am. So back to where I was going. A single system, no matter what you're interested in doing, it has a home on the chart, and you can learn from whatever you're working on with your clients. Last, you will have frequent, confident decision-making because you'll be able to see a long list of interventions that you've tried. You'll have numbers that will quantify the effects of what you've been doing, and you'll be very confident that the reason why the client changed was because of the environment that you helped to arrange. Here we have a client, and just show you a quick little clip here. The client is, okay.
Some more time. You want to write at the end of the chocolate? Okay, cool. Let's get that.
So this is the end of a therapy session. Or, well, it's not the end of a therapy session. It's the beginning of one trial.
What do you see? Ready? Set. Please begin.
So this is a fine motor behavior intervention.
Where do you sleep? Get stop. Keep going. What do you call? Oh. Okay, that was good. Okay, Joshi. That's it. That's it. You got your gummies? That was pretty good. Thank you, buddy.
Good job, bud.
Amazing, dude.
The timing.
Switch teachers too, but That was awesome. That was a hard thing. Okay, right into the chocolate.
Okay, so you can see that what happened, she did an intervention and it took maybe, she set it up, she just started off, she took about 10 seconds, she immediately put the data in. She goes back and then she does more sessions with him. At the end of her 3 sessions, she looks at her data, she has real-time data, and she says, do I need to do 2 or 3 more sessions because he hasn't met his aim? She has the authority to do that. She is empowered to do that. She is connected to the data, and as a result, she and everyone else in that center who is collecting data is able to know instantly what's happening with the client. And let's say 3 days go by and she's tried to do some things on her own. 3 days go by and she needs help. Then she may kick it up to the behavior specialist and say, hey, look, we've been doing this thing. Here's what I've tried. 3 days haven't worked. Can you help me? That's how data becomes ingrained in the fabric of therapy, of interventions. And seeing how easy that is for her just to work with him and then enter the data, that is what you have at your fingertips when you use these products that I'm showing you. Because we're moving into the digital age, even in the past, well, I shouldn't say the past, because we're in that transition now where many people are still using paper, some people are using Excel, and now many people are moving to digital media such as CentralReach. If you go to ABAI, when you walk around the exhibits, you will see more and more people that are sharing digital information. And as you look and see who's doing what, you need to make sure that your data is secure, that it's HIPAA compliant, all of that good stuff. And rest assured that that is exactly what you get when you use CentralReach in Chartlytics. And that over there on the left-hand side, that nice little figure shows you the different people who can use this product, and all of the information is very secure. If you are interested in this, which I hope that's all of you, we'll work with you and show you there's all kinds of permissions that can be done. There's all kinds of ways of configuring your digital solution. And all of this will allow you to be able to take your intervention or take your team and focus it around data so that you can make things happen more quickly, more easily, and you can unify the data that you're collecting and elevate that so that you are now answering questions that you might not have known that you had before because of the measurement system you were on. I'm going to show you this next slide, and one thing that often, this next video clip, oftentimes there is some information out there on a standard acceleration chart, and people will say things, and most of the time people that say this are people that aren't familiar with the chart. They'll say, oh, behavior analysts can't figure that out, or, oh, parents can't figure that out. Students figure it out. This is a client with a disability, and he is in a school, and the entire school is using Chartlytics, and I want you to listen to him explain the chart. He lives with it every day. He's proud of his data, but listen to his explanation of the data.
Well, my dots are going up. These are I've been getting my goals so far, so my dots are going up like, this was a few days ago, and I think this is right now. And you can tell what my goal is by pressing on one of these buttons, and my errors have been going down lately. It's pretty good. You should be doing this a lot. You can tell where your goal is, like I said, you can press on one of these buttons, and Yeah.
So there you have it. At a very basic level, you have this visual display and you have a symbol on it. And the students learn that, oh, these dots right here represent how many I got right. And is it going up to this symbol that says this is where my goal is? And the X's, those are things that the students want to go down. And they get that, and that can be something that they learn quickly. And at that level, most students, that's all they need to know. But as you come to learn more about the chart, you'll see that it's a tool that can be quickly learned, and there's a whole variety, a whole host, a whole constellation of features that you can use that you will find very valuable. So there's Chris. That's not quite a hook, but I am going to stop talking at this point and open this up to comments and questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Rick, and thank you everyone for joining. You can certainly chime in. We can take a couple minutes of questions if you want to chat in. As we mentioned, we can stick around for a few more minutes. But what I can do is just in the meantime, while some of those are coming in. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We know everyone's very busy throughout the day, especially on a Monday. We will definitely be having more of these webinars. So if any of your colleagues want to join, tell them, keep a lookout for a newsletter that'll be coming out with respect to those. We'll try to get these on a consistent basis to bring everyone in the CentralReach community up to speed on how Chartlytics can advance your practice. And I'm sure everyone out there is wondering about integration within CentralReach and what that is going to look like. I can promise you our two product teams are working hard day and night here to figure out the best ways to do that, but we absolutely plan to integrate Chartlytics directly into CentralReach, into our Learn module, into our Notes, into our Files module. So, as we have more information on that, we will certainly pass those things along. And also, as far as, obviously you can send in questions, comments now, but if you are interested in getting more information around Chartlytics, you can, as you can see there on the slide, go to or email the care team at CentralReach.com. That's a general email. We'll get that routed to the appropriate person, or, for everyone out there who, works with a customer success lead on a regular basis, or with our small business unit, which is just about everyone. Please feel free to reach out directly to your direct contact as well. You can submit a support ticket if you want more information. Just get in touch with us any one of those ways, and we will get you to the appropriate people to get you more information with respect to pricing, again, ongoing integration, and so on. So I'll stop there and see if we have any questions, and then Rick, I can let you jump back in and answer anyone's out there.
Yeah, so here's a question. Do some agencies use this for behavior reduction increase, but different measurement for skill acquisition for home services? What we find is that people just use this for everything. If you can use a linear graph, then you could use the same standard acceleration chart. So our users, once they start using Chartlytics, they just use it for everything, because there's no reason to segment it for one thing or the other. That's a good question. There were some previous questions that Chris already answered. Some of you were asking about integration and when that's happening, and as Chris said, that's coming. Any other questions or comments?
All right. Well, I think, Rick, I'm sure you covered most of them. Looks like actually maybe we have one more coming in. No, looks like just some folks signing off. So again, we want to thank you everyone for joining the call. We will be getting, as I said, additional newsletters out with information with respect to the integration, with respect to an ongoing kind of webinar series here that we will do to get everyone up to speed, and continued updates as far as how the products move along. So again, we want to thank everyone for joining, and we look forward to talking with everyone soon. Thank you and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.